This is the Unpacking It podcast. I'm Bryce Johnson, and I am thrilled to be joined today by former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Ryan Shazier. He is the author of the new book coming out November 30th, Walking Miracle: How Faith, Positive Thinking, and Passion for Football brought him back from paralysis and helped him find purpose. Ryan, man, I'm so thankful to have you on the show today. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Grace?
I'm doing awesome, and we got so much to unpack today. But before we get into the meat of your story as a former Steeler, I got to get your thoughts on the first 4 weeks of the season. Not necessarily what we all thought going into the year, but still early. So, how are you feeling about your former team at this point?
It's a little disappointing how we're playing right now, but I think that we'll be able to turn things around. We have a great coach and Coach Tomlin. Ben, he's having a little rough stint right now, so we're going to see if he can turn it around. He's getting a little older, so he doesn't have the same velocity that he once had on the ball. But I feel that we have really good defense, which always keeps us in the mix, and I think we'll figure things out. It just kind of frustrating, to watch at the beginning, but I think we're gonna do all right. I know one thing; it's a little bit more frustrating being a fan than it is being a player. So,
Yeah, what is that change like for you?
yeah, it's definitely a big change. You really get excited about getting prepared for the games, watching the games, but you're not as involved. So when you win or lose, you feel like you're involved when you're not when you're a fan, but you don't have much say so of what can happen. But when you lose as a player or you win as a player, you feel like you have way more impact into the game. And sometimes you can make or miss a play, make or not make a play to change that game. And as a fan, you can't really do that. You're hoping other people can do that. So for me, it's kind of crazy because I always feel like if I wanted the game to change up a little bit, let me see if I can do something to change it up. And as a fan, I can't do anything at all. So it definitely makes it a different experience.
That's right. Well, we can all relate to that perspective because that's how we are as fans and fantasy football owners as well. But also for you, you've gone into the broadcasting realm, and so you're a part of the Ringer NFL show, and I love the Ringer Network. Awesome podcast. So cool that you're a part of that. How much fun are you having when you put kind of your analyst hat on as well?
Oh, it's very fun. When me and James and Jason we talk about football, it's always a good environment. We like to crack jokes and play around with each other. It's crazy because I played James both of James teams this year and they both beat us, so it wasn't that fun talking about it. But it's always interesting to show your perspective and to hear back from what people say. But yeah, I really enjoy it so far.
And then you're also calling games. What has that experience been like?
I'm gonna be honest. That experience is a lot harder than I anticipated, but it's definitely humbling, and I really enjoy it. I I knew it was gonna be difficult, and like anything in life, if you want to be successful, it's gonna be difficult until you work at it and get better at it. But that's something that I'm definitely starting to get better at. I'm starting to really understand a little bit more. But when I jumped into the water, uh, it was. I'm not gonna say it was more than I anticipated, but it's definitely you have to prepare as if you were watching football, as if you was getting ready for a game, and you know Bryce, there's a lot of guys out there. Their last names aren't easy, man. So, uh, but it's definitely fun. I really enjoy it, and I hope to continue to have the possibility to continue to call games and being more involved.
That's cool. And you're doing it on the college football. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Right now it's on the college level.
yeah, definitely. I used to do play by play when I was actually in college, and it was hard keeping up with all those names. So I
Yeah,
understand the challenge with that, especially teams that you don't necessarily follow or you don't have the background. Because I was at App State, so a new team would
Mm.
come into town. It's like, "Oh, I don't know this team, so I have to learn the name. So
yeah,
uh,
yeah. So it's definitely hard, and for me, the best way to get some of the names is the kinetic spelling because if I some of those names, if I just look at it, I definitely would butcher their name, and I want to give them the same respect that I was given when I was playing, and have them say the name the correct way. So I've been learning, and I feel like I'm constantly getting better. And I have a coach who's been helping me out a lot. So I'm just excited of my path moving forward, and just keep going with it.
Yeah, well, I love that we're starting with kind of what you're up to now because I think it puts your story in perspective and it's encouraging to hear the different things that you're doing. And so now you're an author. So the book is coming out. It's called Walking Miracle. And gosh, I can't wait to read it. And I don't want to share everything today, obviously, but would love to cover some of the highlights of kind of even your approach to the book and what was your hope and motivation and kind of what the main inspiration that you want readers to experience after hearing about your story from your heart in kind of written form.
One thing that I wanted people to really realize from my book is that all your experiences and adversities that you've gone through in life help build you up for the moments that you have to go through later in life. And sometimes those moments may be really difficult. Sometimes they may be really easy, but what you've gone through in the past is what built you up for for these moments. And that's kind of what I wanted the book to be about. I talked about my history and how I grew up and how I experienced a lot of adversity. Then that adversity prepared me for the moment I went through when I became paralyzed and got injured on the field. And I don't feel like I would have been able to overcome it the way I did without the past experience in my life to help prepare me for that, and just how God and my family and the support system kind of helped lead the way for me, and how that can help other people as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. And so in regards to your faith, kind of what was your faith background before your injury, and even speaking to how your path sets you up. So how important was your faith to set you up to be able to go through what you did, but then also how did your faith grow throughout the rehabilitation process?
So I had a pretty solid faith background before my injury. My father is a pastor, so I've been in the church my whole life, and before I got injured, I had a pretty good relationship with God, and I constantly talked to Him and thanked Him for this the life He is providing for me and just what He's allowed me to overcome. But through my injury, had to really lean on Him and really lean on my family for their support and the prayers of other people around the world that I felt that helped me overcome this. And it was difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Me and God had a great relationship, and we still have a great relationship. But I promise you, that relationship got tested, and it was times in my injury when I was confused and lost and just wanting more understanding. But after a while, and just constantly talking to God, I know God has a reason for why He does things, and the more I started to realize what I was going through and overcoming what I was going through, it really helped me build up for the moment that I was in, and allow me to continue to get closer with Him, because it was moments I asked God, hey, what is the purpose of this? Why am I going through this? And not so much why me, but like, what is the purpose of this season? God put you in different seasons, and what was the purpose of this season? And it took me a while to understand. It took me a while to realize it, but after a while, he presented it to me, and it really helped me open up and be the man I am now.
Oh man, that's awesome. And what were some of those kind of eye-opening moments or lessons learned? That God really revealed powerful things about Himself or about His Word or about His character that stand out as you look back.
It's so crazy because God, in the moments that He really sends you blessings, or He might send something your way, is a moment that you might not even think is as important of a message. I mean, as important of a moment. So for me, that's some of the times when I really seen God message step up was when I will be in rehab, but I will constantly have rehab. Then I'll be there, and some people wouldn't be there, or I'll be walking around, or not walking around, but rolling around the hospital bay, and I would see people in there without their family members or just laying in the room, and I just seeing how they lacked the support that I had, and God sent the message to me basically saying, Ryan, you have to do something to help provide for these folks.
Mm,
And that's why I started, the Ryan Shazier Fund, which allowed me to start a foundation to help other people with spinal cord injuries. God also, to me, just opened my eyes to allow me to relate with other people in every step of the way. Before I became a professional athlete, I don't like to say people are normal, but I was a normal human being. I was a high schooler, but I was a normal human being. I used to ride the bus. I used to, my parents wouldn't let me get a job, but my parents had a regular job. We was a middle class family, but it is times, and we did go through some rough patches when we stayed in, some lower income apartments and things like that. So I could relate with that. I could relate with being middle class, but I could never relate with somebody who's been in a wheelchair or who's been paralyzed or who's been in an unfortunate situation or somebody whose life just completely turned upside down.
mm,
With my injury, God allowed me to be able to relate with the most athletic human being in the world. Obviously, I can't relate with LeBron James. His life is totally different than mine. But athletic wise and just being an athlete, I can relate with him a tad bit, or athletes a tad bit. But then also being able to relate with somebody who feel like they're dependent on everybody in the world because it's hard for them to do things themselves.
mm.
So I feel like God allowed me to open up my eyes and say, Ryan, there's people here that you should be able to help and that you should be able to provide for. And I need you to come down and be able to relate with those people as well, because it's a lot easier to give a helping hand out when you're on top and and it's almost like you're giving, like pinning your hand down to help
Yeah.
pull people up. But it's a lot different when you're actually understanding what those people are going through or realizing what those people are going through because you had that own fight yourself. And I feel like that's what God did for me.
Wow. I mean, that's a humbling, perspective for sure, and yeah, I think all of us can, yeah, use the whatever struggles and situations that the God's allowed us to use to be able to have empathy and relate to other people in our similar situations. That's a wonderful message. I appreciate that. So again, it's the Ryan Shazier Fund for Spinal Rehabilitation, and, you can find that on ryanshazierfund.org. Um and so, I encourage people to check that out. And so as you're going through these almost 3 years of intense, recovery and rehabilitation, what was your motivation to keep going? And what was that like day to day? And how much did, football play a role in that motivation of wanting to get back? And then I wanna talk about kind of at the end of that, but what was that day-to-day motivation like for you?
So my family would tell you, my friends would tell you, everything I do, I always strive to be the best or one of the best in that field. And when I was playing football, my goal was to be a Hall of Famer. My goal was to be one of the best football players on the field at all times, not just best defensive player or just best linebacker, but to be one of the best players on the field at any moment of the game. And I kind of had the same I had the same pretty much insight and goal for my rehab. I was like, I still want to be one of the best football players. I want to be somebody that overcome this because so many people haven't. And that was a little bit of my motivation. But then I also have a wonderful family. And one thing I try to tell people that are going through spinal cord injuries or people that are going through a really tough time, just because you're going through this doesn't mean that your life is over. You have a lot of life to live for. You have a wonderful family to live for. And I feel like they were my motivation as well.
That's awesome. And then, I think, again, people can maybe relate to, this kinda concept of, I assume your hope was you wanted to play football again, and you weren't able to. So you're praying, and so God healed you, but it wasn't maybe what you had initially thought was going to happen at the end of it. And I know for people, we pray things and we think that the end goal is one path, but ultimately God reveals another path for us. So how hard was that to wrestle with? That and at what point did you realize, okay, the NFL, that's happened. I've done that. That's not going to be something that I do again, but that's okay. I can move forward in confidence.
I feel like our lives are like the Loki show. I don't know if anybody watched the Loki show on Marvel, but he broke the timeline, and that's how God is for us. We have a plan of how we want things to go, but sometimes God put a pin in our timeline, like, hey, I'm gonna let you know this can go in so many different directions. It's just based off of how you decide to push through it. But at the end of the day, I still know where I want you to be at. And I feel like that's what happened for me. I wanted to play football again. I wanted to get back out there. But my goal was to be back available for my family, be back available for other people. And I was able to do that. But obviously, I wasn't able to play football again. But at the end of the day, football is just a stepping stone to allow me to be able to bless other people, to allow me to get other opportunities. And it was still able to do that. So, one thing about God, He's gonna let you do what He want. He'll give you time to do what you want to do, but He also is gonna do what He needs you to do,
Mm.
and that's exactly what He did for me. He allowed me to do what I wanted to do, which was to play football, and I did it at a very successful level for a while. I did it the average NFL career a little bit longer than that,
Yeah.
but then when he wanted things to change, he did.
I mean, that's a tremendous perspective, but I have to imagine that when you did get to the point of acknowledging that you were going to retire from the NFL, what was that kind of process and experience like, and just kind of I imagine the emotional toll that took on you to finally say and announce you did on social media for everyone to hear that, hey, this is it. What do you take away even as you look back on that decision?
That was definitely an emotional moment for me and my family. I've been playing football for 25 years before I got injured, or what 20 years before I got injured, and that's pretty much all I know. So to finally hang on my cleats and say, "Hey, it's time to move on to the next chapter of my life," it was definitely an emotional time, but I definitely felt like it was a weight off my back as well,
Hmm.
and I could just relax and start focusing on my family and the goals and the passions that I have other than football and beyond football. So it was definitely a testing moment. It was definitely something that was hard, but I just understood how blessed I was to be able to get to where I wanted to get to, be able to get blessed to be able to be a Pro Bowler, blessed to be a first round draft pick, and just to be somebody that had the opportunity to make it to where I was able to make it. So I just took that for what it was worth, and I just enjoyed that moment.
Absolutely, and the wonderful blessing is the fact that you were able to dance at your wedding and being able to walk again, and so where are you at kind of with your health? How are you doing day to day?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Every day is getting a little bit better. I can't complain at all. My family is blessed. Every day I'm working out. Well, I don't work out as much as I used to. I used to work out every day, but now I'm
Me
pretty
neither.
good with where I'm at. I'm pretty good where I'm at. I'm more so now working out just not to get fat more than any type of rehab, because I'm pretty blessed where I'm at. I can walk, I can jog if I need to, I can play with my kids when I want to. And to me, I feel like what's most important is family and being able to be there for your family. And I feel that I'm blessed to be able to be here, and that's where I'm at right now. So obviously there's I would say I'm around 85%, 100%. I'm not 100%, but I'm about 85%. And right now, uh, I don't think I'll be running any 4.3s anymore. And I don't see why there's a need to run 4.3s anymore. So I'm just happy where I'm at.
That's right. Other than chasing your kids around,
Yeah.
that's the only thing. That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. And again, the book is called Walking Miracle. It's coming out November 30th. How faith, positive thinking, and passion for football brought Ryan back from paralysis and helped him find purpose. And also you use the word positive thinking. And as a follower of Jesus, I'm it's faith, I'm trusting the Lord, but there is something to be said about our thoughts and renewing our mind and focusing on positive things. I think sometimes when people use the word positive thinking apart from Jesus, it gets a little muddy for me. But for you, with the grounding of your faith in Jesus, but then also the importance of positive thinking, what is your message in your book and for people as you encourage those that are going through difficult times and you're working with a lot of people with spinal cord injuries through your foundation. But what is that big takeaway, I guess, from the lessons learned with positive thinking?
Even in the Bible, whenever God sends something your way, it's not always going to happen exactly how you want it, and you have to be positive whenever you. To me, whenever you want something or whenever you're trying to get somewhere, if you want to learn how to drive and you keep telling yourself when you're practicing driving, I can't drive, I can't drive, I can't drive, or you want to be able to pass the test and you're studying, it's like, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail, then that's exactly what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to overcome any obstacles that you have if you don't first believe in it. And then, secondly, you don't believe in the person or God or Jesus that believe that you can get through it.
Mm,
And so, to me, I thought it was important for me to believe in myself, but also believe in God.
mm.
And that's what I think when it comes to positive thinking. And that's where Shalev comes from. Shalev comes from basically like me believing in myself and just understanding like, hey, I believe in Shazier
Mm.
and I believe that God can help me get through all this.
Amen.
And that's kind of where Shalev came from.
That's right. Well, for those that don't know, that kind of the hashtag or your mantra.
Yeah, it's Shalev. Yeah. So it was
Shali-
so funny because when we came up with it, it was before I actually got hurt, and it was like 2 years before I got hurt. And I came up with the mantra. It's like Shalev, and my friend was like, "What does that mean?" It was like Shazier believe.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a Shazier believe. So to me, I just always been a very positive thinker. I always it doesn't always go exactly how I want it, but I promise you, with me having a positive insight and me believing in things, it happened more likely than it didn't.
That's right. No, and you're an inspiration to so many for sure. And yeah, I appreciate that perspective. I got two more things for you. One, you about a month ago you started a new business, and so this is got to be exciting for you. So it's called Shea Trucking, and
Mhm.
so you're hauling cars. So
Yeah.
tell us about how this came about.
So, like I said before, football is just a stepping stone to allow you to get to where allow you to open up doors, just like college.
Mm,
Football is the same way. Is you go to college to open up opportunities to find a job and help you grow and be the person you want to be in life. Football is the same way. The only person that's playing football until they're 60 years old is Tom Brady. It ain't so. So other than that, most people play 3.5 years. That's the
yeah.
average lifespan. But even if you're really good at football, the average guy, if you're really good at football, if you're a first or second rounder, the average lifespan of a first and second rounder is 8 to 10 years.
Okay. Wow.
So basically, if you play from 8 to 10 years, that's still by the time you get drafted. I got drafted at 22 years old, or 21 years old. When I got drafted, you know, you retire in 10 years, you're 31 years old. So or even if I play 15 years, I'm 35, 36 years old.
Yeah.
I still have 70 years left of life.
Yeah.
And so basically it's a stepping stone to help you build to where you want to be. Some guys, they just collect their money and just sit there, but I never wanted to be one of those guys. And I always had a passion for business.
Mm,
And in the last 3 years of my recovery, I've been trying to figure out, hey, do I want to coach? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Do I want to do business? Do I want to do this? And I always had a love for business. And I started talking to a few friends of mine, and we started talking. And then something that really came to my attention was the transportation industry.
yeah.
And I just started to really look into it and start going into it more and more and more. And I just started falling in love for it. And so about a year and a half, about a month ago, I officially opened it. And it's called Shea Trucking, and we move vehicles all across the country. Uh, any type of vehicle, high end, or you know, somebody's Honda Accord, or or even Chevelles. Like we moved the Chevelle. That's a '66 Chevelle
Nice.
yesterday. So we move a little bit of everything. So I'm just really excited about it, and I look forward to just continuing to let this business grow.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's really exciting. I'm here in Charlotte. Mike Tolbert, former Panther, lives here. He's in the trucking industry.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so you might have to connect with him, but I know he started that a couple years ago, so that's pretty cool. It's a neat opportunity for you guys to yeah, get into business and own your own thing, which is
Yeah.
tremendous. Um, the other thing I want to mention to you, so Mike Tomlin's one of my favorite coaches, just as a fan, and I did have a chance to meet him and interview him, and just loved him. So your perspective as a former player, and then even through all that you've gone through, what impact has he had on your life, and what do you say about Coach Tomlin?
One impact Coach Tomlin has had on my life is just basically the drive to win, or the drive to get to where you want to be. One thing about him, he does a really good job of finding out what people are good at and what their skill sets are, and then pretty much trying to keen in on them.
Mm,
But after he does that, he shows you he's doing everything he possibly can to be the best coach possible that he can be.
mm.
And he's competing with other guys, but in the day, he's trying to be the best coach he can be. And to me, I just learned from that, and just seeing what he would do on a day-to-day basis, and I try to add it into my own life, and it's really helped me out a lot.
Oh, that's neat. That's a good perspective. Well, the book is called Walking Miracle Book, and Walking Miracle, and new book November 30th. I wish you the best with that. I know it's going to be an inspiration to so many. And then I guess real quickly as we wrap up, what's maybe the latest going on with your foundation, the Ryan Shazier Fund for Spinal Rehabilitation, and maybe is there a specific need that our listeners can be made aware of?
So right now, it's really exciting. We're constantly raising money and doing the best we can to help support people with spinal cord injuries. But in this next coming year, we're going to open up a program called the Golden Window Program. The most rehab most people get in any injury, but especially spinal cord injuries, is the first 18 to 24 months is when people get the most rehab possible. Not the most, but they get the fastest recovery, basically. And it's almost kind of like kids in the first 2 years of kiddom. I like to say kiddom,
That's right.
but the
Like,
first years of adolescence, kids are constantly learning and learning and learning, and it's like they're like a sponge. And it's kind of the same thing when it is to the spinal cord, to your spinal cord. So that the in the acute phases, it's the faster you have the fastest recovery. So we start a program to allow people to get more resources and more rehab through those period in that period of it's called the golden window. So we started the golden window program and allowing others to get more rehab or more resources in that time. And I'm really excited because we plan on kicking that off uh, in the next few months, and then in the year coming up.
that's excellent. Gosh, you got a lot going on, man. It's awesome.
Yeah,
RyanShazierFund.org, RyanShazierFund.org. And people can listen to your podcast, the Ringer NFL show,
yeah.
as well.
Guys,
And
I have a question for you. I
yeah,
have a question
yeah.
for you. I see you in Charlotte, but you have trinkets from all over the place, man. Who are you a fan of, man?
That's right.
I
So
see you with the David. I see you with the David Robinson. I'm a Spurs fan, but you
nice.
got Clay Thompson and the Panthers and the Bears. It's like I don't know where your alliance lead.
That's fair. So we want to represent all different fan bases, but for me, I'm a Charlotte guy. So I'm a Hornets, Panthers guy. I'm a Duke fan.
All
Um,
right,
and so I went to App State. That's my college football team. But Steph Curry, he's from Charlotte, so I got him
okay.
on the wall. And then when the Hornets left town, when I was in, I guess, high school, that was at the height of the Kobe Bryant Lakers era. So I became
So
a
you're a
Laker.
Laker fan.
I'm a Lakers fan. So I'm a
Oh
Kobe
my
guy.
gosh, here we go. All right, he's following LeBron, you guys. He's
That's
following
right.
LeBron.
That's right. I'm stuck with him with LeBron as well. And then actually my favorite players growing up were Grant Hill. So I got Grant Hill and then D-Rob. So
Okay.
your boy David Robinson. So
All right. All right. That's awesome. That's awesome.
those are my guys.
That's
So
pretty. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I've been to Charlotte about 2 or 3 times, and it's a beautiful city.
we love it, man. It's a fun place. And our Hornets are going to be a little bit better. And then our Panthers are 3-1. So we're feeling
Are you guys contenders or pretenders?
I would say we're a wild card type team. I, I think
Okay.
I think we're a playoff team. But then yesterday trading for Stephon Gilmore, it, Panthers are all in.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they're all in. They're definitely all in right now. I see it. So, David Tepper's a good owner. So I think he'll help you guys out a lot. And then Matt Rule's a good coach. So, I hope you guys the best. Just don't wear out C Mac, and you guys will be all right.
I know it is concerning because the offense is very much focused on him. And even though Hubbard's actually a nice backup, he did well last week. But Dallas might be for real, unfortunately. they,
Yeah,
they,
Dallas might be for real, but
I
it's a
know.
lot of teams in the NFC that might be for real. So you guys have a rough. Y'all gonna have a tough one this year. But Sam Donald's really showing everybody, hey, I was really the number 3 pick for a reason. So
I'm encouraged. I think he's been solid, and I was actually encouraged
I think it's
because
number 2 pick. My fault.
was he two? Yeah. So he threw 2 interceptions against Dallas, but the way he bounced back from those injuries, I thought was impressive. That to me said a lot about him. So
Yeah.
despite the loss, it was like, all right, there's some positives.
Yeah,
So
so I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a good year for you guys. I think you guys will definitely win your division. Uh,
over the Bucks.
oh, I forgot they were in your
Yeah, the
division.
Bucks.
Sorry.
I know.
Yeah. I,
It's a
I was just
nightmare.
thinking of Jameis
New Orleans.
in New Orleans, and who is the other team in your division right now? I'm having a brain
Atlanta's
fart.
terrible.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's why I forgot about them. All right,
Yeah.
my fault.
Well, no, because the Panthers, we had to go up against Drew Brees for 15 years or whatever it was, and then now we get Tom Brady, and he'll play like you said till 60. So it's kind of a bummer. That's why I say wild card. I'm hoping for a wild card.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all win the division. Their defense is not that good. So, but let me say that their secondary, y'all can't run the ball on them, but like nobody can run the ball on them. But their secondary is not that good. So I think you guys have a legit chance.
True, because
But
even
the
Mac.
Patriots almost beat them.
That's right. Mac Jones was throwing pretty well against them.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah, that's interesting. Well, hopefully your Steelers get things figured out. So
yeah, hopefully.
I look at the roster and it's like, man, there's so much talent, all the names and players, and it's a good team. And to me, I'd still trust Tomlin to turn things around. But
No, no, that's the one thing. I definitely feel Coach Thomas is going to turn things around. Like we have like the number 2 defense in the league right now.
yeah,
We just
it's
got to get something going on offense. If we just get any points on the board, we win the game. So
true. That's right. Yeah, maybe not 30, 35 points, but yeah, just get something going.
yeah, just give us like 21 and we'll be all right. I think we can win.
That's it. Absolutely. Well, Ryan, man, you're an inspiration, and love to having you on the show and talking with you. And so, again, wish you the best with the book, and we'll definitely have to catch up again soon. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Bryce.
Awesome. There's Ryan Shazier joining us here on Unpacking It.